Hi there, Lindsay here. It is Sat Chat time, or Saturday Chatter Day, as we like to call it here on the Frugal Crafter YouTube channel. If you are new to my channel, this is probably not the video you want to start with. It's like jumping to the end of the book. This is not a tutorial, it's just the weekly kind of catch-up, fun, visit video that we do every week since the beginning of the pandemic, and we're still doing it. We're still catching up on Saturday mornings. I hope you are having a good week, a good weekend. Hope you're healthy, I hope you're well, and hope you have time to do something fun this weekend or whenever your next day is off. I never had weekends off until I guess until I had kids, because then I became part of their schedule. But yeah, I always seem to work nights and weekends. So hey, whatever time you have off, I hope you enjoy it and hope you have some time to do something creative. So this week was kind of another weird week. Last week and this week were kind of slow and weird, and I kind of felt a little bit like I was sleepwalking through the day. We all have times like that, don't we? So it was a lot of little puttering around. I did have to catch up on some editing this week. So I was doing a bunch of that yesterday. I had a dental appointment this week, which always kind of throws, like, whenever I go to the dentist or the doctor, it throws a couple days off, I'm not gonna lie, because I am kind of high-strung and nervous about health issues. It was just a regular checkup, and I didn't have any problems, wasn't having any issues, but still just knowing that I had to go to the dentist, just I didn't sleep very well, and then I was worried that that my car wouldn't start, because, you know, I drive maybe somewhere once a week, maybe. So it's like, it had been really cold, and I was like, oh, what if my car doesn't stop, because it had been parked outside and not in the garage. And so I was kind of like nervous about that. So, you know, I woke up and I started to make sure it would work before my husband left for work, in case I had to tell one of the kids to ride with dad and take their car. Everything was fine. And I got to have lunch with a friend of mine, which was really nice, because we hadn't gone out to lunch, I don't think, since the beginning of the pandemic. So that was really, really nice to kind of catch up a little bit, and yeah, just kind of go out into the world. And then that was pretty much it though. Lunch, dentist, and then I came back home and did some more work. But then, I mean, it's like, well, I don't know, I don't need anything, so I don't need to go shopping. It's fun to look, but if I go to a store, one cannot simply look in an art or craft store, because then you feel like it's a wasted trip if you don't come home with something. You know, you've got to have a treasure or souvenir for you. So it's like, no, just stay out of the store, Lindsay. Oh my word. Oh my word. And it just seems like also the big box stores, a lot of them have just kind of resorted to more house brands and less of the kind of like tried and true name brand supplies that, like, I might pick up, like if I know I'm running low on something, like I'm running low on I don't know, say ultramarine blue. I might pick up a tube of, you know, artist grade ultramarine blue from like Winsor Newton, or generally it seems like big box stores, the only artist grade watercolor they'll stock is Winsor Newton. I think it's probably because they're the most tried and true. I have nothing against Winsor Newton, I like them fine. But more and more it's like those, and they're just so much higher priced than what you can buy them in catalogs. So anyway, yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't need anything. I'll just waste time and I'll waste money. So I came home. And plus, also when you when you spend money on like a dental cleaning and stuff, it's like, oh, that's a little high in the hug. That was my treat for the day. Clean teeth. That's probably a better thing to spend my money on. But anyways, what else this week? I did this. This is one of my kind of playing around things. Now, I've worked on round watercolor paper before. I've made my own round watercolor blocks using the paper I already had. But this was actually one that you can purchase. It's a cotton round watercolor block from Arteza. I don't know where the lid to this was. Well, one criticism I have already is that the lid or the cover doesn't stay attached. Like when I make I have one of my handmade blocks here. When I make a watercolor block, I make it so that the lid or the cover stays attached, so that when I close it, I can make a little ribbon to tie it up because I'm super fancy. It will protect the paper, like in my bag or whatever. So, and I even like one like this, I just used scrapbook paper, but I made it so that there was a lid that was gonna like stay closed and keep that top sheet from being gross. Or even if I do a painting, you know, I wouldn't want to like throw this in my bag without it being protected, you know. So that's my one criticism so far. I haven't used it enough to review it. I'm going to review it though. Oh, and that's another thing. That's, by the way, that's the Arteza, I believe it's 7-inch or maybe 7.5-inch watercolor block. When I make my own, I use my my circle dies, and the largest circle die I have is like 5 inches, I think. maybe not even. So I'm kind of limited if I'm going to make my own block with the, or I'll cut my round paper larger if I want to do like a larger round, or tear it or something in a round shape, go around a plate or something. But with a block, I really want all the sheets to be perfectly uniform, because you need to glue them around the edge and you want them to be nice and tight and glued nice and tight. So I do have to use dies for that. My die cutter is a 6-inch wide model. So, you know, and I have one die that's actually like 6 inches wide, and it like barely makes it through. It's almost like I feel like I'm going to damage the die. So it ends up being smaller than 6 inches anyway. So I was kind of curious about the larger round blocks, because I do like to kind of change up my format every once in a while. So yeah, I'll have a review on that. So reviews, speaking of reviews, I posted a video on Wednesday about oh, before I get any further, the necklace I wore last week, which was like it actually was this same necklace but done with different beads. So I have a tutorial for that on my YouTube channel. I'll try to remember to link it back up, but I always get a lot of comments about the jewelry that I'm wearing. This, yes, I made this. This was actually from an Annie's Kit Club project, and then when I did the rainbow one, I did a video on like taking the instructions from like a kit and then applying it to the supplies you already have, so you can get a little more bang for your buck when you do buy a kit like that. So anyway, I'll try to remember to link that down below, but this is the same necklace as the rainbow one I wore last week. It's just made with different materials. So I think that's kind of neat. It's might inspire you to try something you've done before and with a different bead or a different wire, or a different chain or something like that. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because when I did the video on like, can we trust art supply reviews, I had that same necklace on because I filmed it right after last week's Sat Chat, and I got a lot of people asking me about that necklace, and then I'm like trying to link the video on every comment, and I'm like, oh, I just need to remember to put that in the description. These earrings are from Los Arnos Etsy shop. I'll link to them as well. I don't know if they're still available, but they're very light polymer clay earring. I didn't make these. They were sent Los Artesanos. I can't say it. I'm gonna link it, but yeah, they work perfectly with a sweater that I liberated from my daughter's closet. So how's such a mooch? Yeah, okay, so anyway, on to the supply review topic. So a lot of people commented, I hope you're not going to stop doing art supply reviews. I'm going to keep doing art supply reviews. I'm going to preface those reviews with the date that I'm doing the review and what it costs currently, and also to look for most recent reviews. If it's something that's like, especially if it's something like kind of like a newer company or a no-name brand, not no-name brand, but you know, there's been a lot of new art supply companies that have popped up, and a lot of these companies are American companies, but they outsource everything. They have everything white labeled, which is, you know, basically they go over to Alibaba and they find something that is going to suit their needs. Maybe they order a sample and try it out. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just order like 10,000 or whatever it is to fulfill their requirements. And then they have it with their logo. They have the logo put on it and shipped to an Amazon distribution center, and then sell it like that. But the preface of that video was that things change. You know, I could review something, and then 6 months later somebody watches that review and goes to buy the product, and it's a completely different product, because by then they've sold out of that first whatever 10,000 units, and they've reordered, but they couldn't reorder it from the same company, or maybe that company, it is the same company but they changed something, or maybe they went to a different company that was cheaper, or a different company that was actually running because of the pandemic, and some companies had to shut down for periods or got backed up with orders or whatever. So it was basically just to say I want to put the video out there to mainly be like, buyer beware. If you're watching a review video online and it's like a year in the future from when the video was posted, look at the most recent reviews on Amazon and see what people are saying that have recently bought the product, because I mean, I've seen things go from 5 stars to like dropping to 1 star, like in the course of 6 months. It's like and to hear the descriptions, it's like they're not even talking about the same product, or that the listing has been reused. Like sometimes if I think if a store has a popular listing, they can, rather than like list a whole new product, they can just edit that listing and put up their new product for sale. And then like you're reading the descriptions and it's like, they're selling markers. They're describing a set of watercolors. I mean, like seriously, a different product, and they want to keep that traction that listing had, you know what I mean? So, you know, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. I don't think there's as much of an issue with the legacy brands, like I'm talking like the tried and true Derwent, Caran d'Ache, Winsor & Newton, well, except for the student grade lines in some companies. I think the student grade lines are can be a little dodgy because often those are outsourced. And what I've noticed also is like things like markers, crayons, any media like that tends to be almost always outsourced, even pens, things like that. I just think when there's like a plastic body and ink involved, it's like they don't want to do it, or they don't have the facilities to do that in America or in Europe. Like even like Ranger, their distress crayons are made in China. Winsor & Newton's markers are made in China. I know a lot of paint pens are made in China or Vietnam. So once they're in another factory, that original company is going to lose a little bit of oversight. Like I was comparing the Winsor & Newton markers that were made in France versus the ones made in China, and I found they were pretty comparable, but I did have some damage on one of the nibs, just lack of quality control. I mean, you know, there wasn't somebody in that tried and true factory making sure they put the cap on right, or that it was all inserted properly. Not that it was a big deal. I'm sure they would ship out it's probably cheaper for them to ship out a new marker when there's one damage than it is to have the whole factory moved into a European country versus China. So it's just something to think about. I'm still going to do reviews. I don't think I would want to stop doing reviews, but I definitely want to make sure people are aware of things that can change. And also, I wasn't meaning to, like the person that had mentioned that I saw, it wasn't anybody I knew, just somebody mentioned in a Facebook group that they bought a few things on my recommendations and they didn't like it. And I wasn't throwing shade at that person. That person has every right to speak up and say what their experience was and say their truth. I don't want to censor anybody, especially on a platform that's not even mine. I wouldn't dream of censoring somebody. And I don't want anyone to like see that comment and be like, her reviews are great. She never is dishonest. I mean, it's nice when people stick up for you and stuff, but I don't want this person attacked because, you know, that's kind of, I want to see David and Goliath, but, you know, I don't want... You know, I don't want people to do that. They're just saying their honest opinion. They're trying to help out a fellow painter in a group, and that's what, you know, you should be able to speak freely in Facebook groups, I think. Even if they're not glowing praise of me, they still have the right to say it. Oh goodness, let's see. I had some topics, believe it or not. Water pump is on. It was funny. My son's going to be moving home. And I'm very happy about that. And he's been coming up, moving stuff back slowly and spending the night on his days off. And he hadn't come out yet. He hadn't come out of his room yet when I came down to film. So I thought, well, I don't want to wake him up. Let's let him sleep. But then I think he just got in the shower because the water pump's going anyway. I don't know if you can hear it. People tell me I can't even hear what you're talking about, Lindsay. So anyway, that's that. I'm trying to stop apologizing so much because people say, don't apologize. Don't apologize if life happens, noises happen. But it's a hard habit to break. It's a hard habit for us women to break, isn't it? I did have a question from a viewer, which I thought was really interesting, and I thought would be great for a Sat Chat topic, because I think they asked last Sat Chat, and they asked, how do you store supplies so that they are accessible? And I thought that's a really great topic because the way I store supplies in here are not perfectly accessible because this is my filming area and not my storage area. If I had my druthers, if like there was like a perfect situation, this marker rack would be right in front of me on my desk. However, that interferes with my lighting, and it also takes away from my desk space, and it interferes with my filming. And plus, when I'm filming these Sat Chats, I love having this here because it's such a nice decoration in addition to being functional. So when I'm working, I've got to turn around, pick my colors, then go back over to my artwork. It's so much quicker if I can just pull my markers as I'm like looking like up and down from my art to my markers, down to my art to my markers. So like if you remember my Sat Chats done in the old space, before I moved into this area. So this actually used to be my son's bedroom before we put an addition on our house. When we put the addition on our house, he moved into the our master bedroom, old master bedroom, and we moved into the addition. And then I got this space. So it was great because this is heated. And my other space was just unfinished basement. And in Maine, it would be in the 50s in the winter. And I still worked down here, and it was pretty miserable. I had an office when it was actually built into our garage, and we had to demolish that to put the addition on. So like the winter before I got this space. I was working in like 50 degrees. It was awful. I had like a space heater blowing on me constantly when I was sitting over there. I had like tons of layers on. It was like I was feeling like an Arctic researcher. Like the movie The Thing. Yeah, I so don't know much about science that like my interpretation of like people doing research are like the guys from The Thing. I'm thinking of, well, I'm Wilford Brimley over there with the overalls and the ski pants and the and everything, you know, hoping some alien monster doesn't attack me as I do my artwork. And yeah, it was not fun. I don't like to be cold, as I've discussed many times. But the thing I liked about that, though, because there's always a silver lining, right, was that in that area where I did my sat chat, that was actually the area I would sit in the winter to work for the most part, because I could have a space heater right at my feet and almost trap a little bit of that warm pocket of air in that corner. So, but my markers were right in front of me, and so when I was working, I had a little easel with an incline. I had a camera mount on the ceiling. I had my three lights pointed into the middle, and I could just easily grab whatever marker I wanted. It was really ideal for doing any sort of work like that. Anytime I have to turn around for the markers, it's a little less convenient. Upstairs, I have a little desk in my bedroom where I work. I asked my husband to put two floating shelves right in front of my desk. I have a marker rack with my Artify markers. The 108 set is such a great balanced selection of markers, and I don't use them every day, so I don't have to worry about wear and tear on those nibs too much. And then the skin tone set, so I have those there on a marker rack, one of the Spectrum Noir marker racks, and then I've got a crate with my I have my Prismacolor pencils and my Macaron Brute pencils and a few odds and ends, and then I have a tin of watercolors, my Rosa Gallery watercolors, and also that tiny little etcher ceramic palette, which has a bunch of colors, but the wells are so tiny that it hasn't been very useful for me for general work, but just have it up there to where if I want those extra colors, I have a little smattering of it. And then I got a couple sketchbooks on the shelf, but everything is like at eye level and really easy to get to, really easy to reach. So my advice would be, if you use it every day, have it out and have it where you can get it, and if you can make it that it's a pretty decoration, all the better. But in my storage area, so the old art area, I just basically turn to storage, and I also use it for big messy projects or sewing, because I've got a big table where I can cut fabric, or if I'm framing or matting things, I've got that big table, which is just two of these cubbies like this. These are just like the Home Depot, Walmart, Target cubbies. They're like 40 bucks. Two of those with a big hollow core wooden door, one of those hollow core Luan doors over the top of it. And then I've got, you know, different crates of supplies underneath it. Stuff I don't need to get to very often is in like totes, like tubs. Like my yarn is in like big clear tubs I can see through, which is I have my cool colors in one, my warm colors in the other. I pretty much destashed all my yarn except for anything that was kind of expensive or interesting that I thought I would actually use, because I do not knit very often. I haven't knitted in so long, I haven't crocheted in so long. It's like I feel like the girls use my yarn. They'll go grab it and grab some hat looms, and they'll make presents or just make bags or things like that. I have my novelty yarn in here in like wire trash bins, so that I can see them and I can just kind of get what I need, and I use it on like tags and cards and stuff, so it'll get used, because I just don't knit or crochet anymore. I did keep I'm going to do a video on that. It might come up in the next week or two, about what happens when you fall out of love with your hobby, because I think that we have a lot of guilt around stuff like that, and a lot of times we will keep stuff or even do hobbies we don't even enjoy anymore, because we have the stuff and that's who we are, and it's really just our fantasy selves. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. But so in here I do keep a little bit of everything, so and the stuff I use the most often, so I don't have to run over to the storage area very often. If I'm in the middle of a project and I need a colored pencil, well, I don't have to have my most perfect special colored pencil. I can grab whatever color pencil. But if I am doing a full color pencil piece, I'll get the set that I want to use for that. And I have a lot of these units. I have like a unit like this with all my colored pencils, like stacked up, all my sets stacked up, and it's not aesthetically pleasing over there. It's not like I did a video last year when I was just kind of reorganizing. Every year I go through every drawer and I make sure that everything I have in there is something. I make sure I know where everything is. I may not be ready to get rid of something I haven't been using, but at least I know where it is. But it's mostly shallow drawers with no lids. I don't like lids on my drawers because I like to be able to get to everything. I like to bring a whole drawer in here if I'm going to do like embossing or something like that. I'll bring the whole, and I'm not sure what I want, or I want to do like a technique that's really just embossing, and I want to mix powders and I make some thick lay downs of colors and stamp in it or stuff like that, I'll just bring the whole drawer over there without a lid. I use a lot of the Iris and Sterilite rolly carts for those. I try to get the ones that have removable drawers, or I'll cut out the little stoppers in there so they're removable. I have a couple underneath my table here. So I basically have a 30-second rule. If I can't find it in 30 seconds, it's got to go. Because that's how fast I want to access my materials. But definitely things without lids, drawers without lids, stuff that is see-through. I can see where everything is, because and if I can't see through it, if it's like a drawer, say it's like a bin, well, I don't really have any here. I guess like, well, this is my catch-all for, like, you know, I have scraps of paper that I've stamped for swatches. I've got my pencil trays. I've got all kind, you know, just kind of the stuff I grab every day. If it's something like that, I would put a label on it, like, and it would be like washi tape, embossing powders, glitters, just because I have a lot of drawers and I might forget what's in every one. So it's just, yeah, a lot of shallow drawers. You can watch that video. I'll try to remember to link it down below. My fabric, I don't have a lot of fabric. It's all in a, it's like a metal chest of drawers. It might be like 5 little shallow drawers, and I have them folded KonMari style, so I have them folded flat and on their ends so I can see like all my colors of felt. I can see all my fat quarters, which I thought I was trying to find, because I was just like, I don't sew very often. I'm going to use up my fat quarters for wrapping presents, and my mother sews, so I was wrapping her birthday present in a fat quarter, and it took me many tries to find a fat quarter that I hadn't cut into. It's like, well, like, maybe I use my fabric a little more than I thought I did, but yeah, I just keep it so I can find it in a moment's notice, and everything's labeled if I can't see through it. But in here, it's, you know, I have to take aesthetics into consideration, just because I want the lighting to be really good for filming, and I want it to not look like, you know, I want it to look interesting at least around, so, you know, like, what's over there, and, you know, I don't know. Oh, by the way, the video for that will be up on Friday. No, it'll be up on Sunday. So if you're, that's tomorrow, friends. I'm filming this Friday at 12:14. That definitely will be up Sunday. Oh, got a new Frugal Friday video up, and it's about repurposing stuff around the house for your travel painting or even in studio painting. And it's just one of those things I've always done, and maybe you have too, but there might be a few tips or ideas in there that you haven't heard before. So hopefully it's useful. It's only like, I don't know, 7 minutes, so it's not that much time out of your day if you are curious. And let's see if I have any other notes to mention. Oh, I heard a rumor, but I can't find any confirmation online, so maybe it's untrue. It's probably untrue. I can't find anything out about it unless somebody that's on the inside knows something that told somebody that, and it got to me. But somebody said, a viewer said that they heard that Prismacolor is discontinuing their open stock pencils. Does anybody know about this? Is this true? I don't know. I don't want to like say, it's like I can't imagine they would do that, because I mean, the big stores must sell a ton of open stock pencils, wouldn't you think? And I was just kind of thinking, how often do I buy open stock pencils, and how many colors do I buy open stock? And to be honest, I don't buy that many colors open stock. So probably maybe, but then again, if you go into like a big box store, like generally they only have, I don't know how many colors they have open stock. They don't have them all. I was just thinking last time I was at Fiddleheads how many they had, but it was like a smaller display. It wasn't like all 150 colors. I just purchased a box of white, like 12 white pencils, because I go through those quicker than anything. But that was interesting. I hope that's not the case, because that's really going to be a bummer for a lot of professional print artists that still use Prismacolor, because, you know, for print purposes where you don't need to worry about light fastness, because it's going to be scanned and printed. So if anybody knows about this, if anybody's heard anything about it, I Googled, but I didn't find anything out. So maybe, so that makes me think that maybe it is true, but like it's kind of hush-hush, and it was just kind of like somebody that works for a store or something was notified, like, get your orders in, because we're going to discontinue these. Or, I mean, I guess stores could always order like the big sets and sell them out open stock, but there's going to be colors that sell out faster than others. Like, you may never, you know, if you buy 10 boxes so that you can have open stock, you know, there's going to be colors that never sell, and then you're going to have colors like white and black and indigo and terracotta that sell out like immediately. So yeah, I don't know. So if it's true, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say stock up, because I feel like, I don't know. On one hand, I feel like quality and materials have been degrading over the years, so it might be a good idea to stock up on things that don't go bad. But on the other hand, it's like I don't want to encourage hoarding. It's hard to be a role model, friends. I don't know if I am. It's hard to be a cautionary tale. Yeah, either way. Maybe I could be a cautionary tale. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I bought a box of white because I will use this with other brands as well, and I don't regret it. I don't know. I think honestly, if Prismacolor stopped selling open stock, I would just switch brands. Unless it was a color that I couldn't get in Derwent Colorsoft, because Colorsoft I feel is very comparable, and they've been $1.25 a piece over at Blick lately. They go on sale all the time for like $1.25, and that's the same price as Prismacolor, and you get a better pencil. You know, because it's the lead is stronger, it doesn't break as much, the casing's thicker, so it protects the lead from breaking. I think part of the reason the Prismacolor has issues with breaking is their casing is small, and anytime you, like a lot of times with the budget pencils, their casing, the wooden part is thinner, and it just doesn't protect the core of the pencil. So I guess that's what I would do anyway. Of course, there is a larger color range with Prismacolor, but you know, I guess unless you rely, maybe if you rely on some of those colors that are only available from Prismacolor that you can't get from another brand, you can't get a comparable color, maybe you might want to stock up on those. But I just a word to the wise, just it's a rumor I heard. It's only a rumor. I can't confirm or deny it, but anyway, that's something I heard. I don't know if it's true. What was that? It was some like, oh, was it Bill Maher does a thing? I don't know for a fact that it's true. I just know it's true or something like that. He does a bit like that on his podcast or his show. I always listen to the podcast when I listen to it. Sometimes I can't though, because it's like I got to stay away from the politics stuff. It's just too depressing. I got to keep the bright and happy. So however you keep your bright and happy, keep doing it, because you know people can drag you down, man. I feel like a lot of people are just feeling very miserable lately, and it can be hard to be around that. So you got to keep the positivity and do what you can to find your joy every day, guys. If it's splashing paint on paper, do it. If it's going for a run, going for a walk, do it. You know, you do you. Enjoy your life. You only get one of them, so make the most out of it, I guess. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye.